The Joel Fernandez Show is a talk show channeled spontaneously from source to edify and help raise the vibrations of truthers, starseeds, Christic alchemists, and others who have seen through this illusionary matrix into messianic consciousness by discussing hidden knowledge, higher dimensions, and manifesting so that we can shine our light for everyone to see and co-create the earth that we know we actually deserve to live in. Dope, I gotta go. I'm working on the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Joel Fernandez Show. I'm Joel Fernandez, and this is episode 41, and guess what? Pastor Art is back in Calgary.
One of the interesting things in traveling in USA is that when you went to the airport, it was a muzzle on and 6 feet apart, or else you're dead meat, you're going to die for sure. And then you're standing in the lineup and there's no problem anymore. You can pretty much kiss everyone and hug everyone. That's all good because you see the virus understands that you have to stand in the lineup. So he is like, you are not allowed to attack, and he obeys. And then you're on the other side, you're being screened, and again, the message is all over, bombarding your very soul, 6 feet apart, muzzle on, or else. And then you're standing in the lineup to board a plane, and again the virus understands. He's a very smart virus. He knows that when you're eating, he's not allowed to attack. When you're next to a human being while you're boarding the plane, you're not allowed to. He's not allowed to attack. And then, of course, when you're sitting in the plane, my God, I was sitting with so many people so close, they could be my wives and my husbands. We were so close to each other, we practically were family. And that's okay for 3 hours, for 4 hours. You see, virus understands. Fauci told him what to do and how to do it. The moment you come out, muzzle on, and the airplane suit arrived, and immediately they would play this mantra, 6 feet apart. And my goodness, I'm pretty much married to this guy right now. And you're telling me that I have to keep 6 feet apart now? Because if I don't, we're all dead? Liars, cheaters, manipulators. Oh, for how long I have been saying on this soil about communism, fascism, and socialism hybrids. I have been warning you for the past 16 years. But the Canadians were not interested. You see, as long as you have your toys, as long as you have your comfortable life, as long as you are doing relatively okay, why would you care about God? Why would you care about His laws? Why would you care about everything else? You see, selfishness, self-centeredness, ego, that's the problem of the Western civilization.
That's right, and the authorities are really running scared. They're so scared that they even arrested him on trumped-up charges. But guess what? Light is always one step ahead of the darkness. So even though they were waiting for him at the tarmac, and they took him into custody and actually threw him in solitary confinement.
Spread your feet apart. That's out. Okay, place your hands behind your back, away from your back. No, behind your back, away. No, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Sir, can you stand up? All right. Hands behind your back. One hand, please. One hand, please. All right, move forward.
There was a remnant from the cave that stood guard, and at the four corners of the place where he was being detained, we blew the shofar, and we were proclaiming victory because no weapon formed against us can prosper, and every tongue that rises against us in judgment, we condemn.
Hello friends, this is Pastor Artur Pawlowski. I just got released from jail know, upon arrival, I was arrested on 2 charges. There were warrants for my arrest, believe it or not, and our lawyers were asking if there are any warrants, and there were no warrants for me at all. And behold, the miracle happened. Just when I arrived, there were 2 warrants waiting for me. So I was picked up from the plane and by the customs and taken inside the building, and the 2 police officers explained to me that I have those warrants, and one brought me here, and another officer took my luggage and my computer and other electronics, and behold, they're missing. All my luggage, no one knows where it is. My computer, my backpack, and electronics all are missing. So well, we'll see where all of that stuff is, but I'm here, I'm not missing. So I'm grateful to be on a Canadian soil, and we will keep fighting. We're not going to quit, we'll keep plowing. I have been privileged to be in the States for almost 4 months now. Unbelievable, amazing. And I felt to stay over there because if America falls, all the free world falls. So they're rising up. There's many of them that are rising up. And I heard that Canadians are rising up as well. And that, you know, when I was watching actually the news in the United States about what's happening in Calgary and all over this beautiful country of ours, our home, Canada, and I'm very excited. Lions are coming together. The pride of Lions is coming together. And in the end, we know how the story ends. We win. God wins, and if you are with God, we will win. So when I was in solitary confinement, that's where they kept me, I heard the shofars. It's so amazing, and I said, is this a shofar? And I could hear it clearly, and I thought maybe that's David walking around, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, don't allow him to be in trouble. But that's the troublemaker right here, the troublemaker. So thank you guys so much for coming here. Can you believe it? They came here to camp for me. Like, I mean, that's unbelievable. Thank you so much. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, and thank you, America, for treating me like I am like a son of the land. And now I got welcomed by Canadians, so I hope you are going to treat me like a son of this nation. So be blessed, and I'll keep updating you what's happening. I have to appear in the court on the 13th, and as you know, I have 2 contempt of court, so pending prison. We don't know for how long, and we don't know much what is going to happen on that day, but God knows. In the end of the day, He holds my life in the palm of His hands. Be blessed.
This is why the kingdom of darkness is running scared, because they know their time is up. They're just trying to accelerate it before we actually cross this threshold, because once we're on the other side, they don't stand a chance. Just watch what's coming down the pipelines. But it was really great to have him back this Saturday, because that impartation of the boldness of lions is here for us to seize. And as soon as we seize it, we rise up as that divine army riding behind the Lion of Judah. And we literally rise as kings and priests of the kingdom of heaven. He's literally the only pastor in Canada that actually stood up to the establishment. And it seems like, you know, maybe it's the only guy in the whole world that has this kind of guts. And I'm so proud to be a member of this congregation. But you know what? We can't be complicit and have same old church. Get your donuts at the door and we're going to take your temperature. Imagine if someone's sick and they come to church for prayer and you turn them away at the door just because they have a temperature. What are you going to say when you get to the other side, when it was up to you to actually minister to them? And you sent them packing just because you were scared of COVID. But you know, all of that manipulation is being exposed. All of it is coming to a head, and we're starting to see things accelerate beyond what we could have imagined before. But yeah, like, what can I say? Like, a whole bunch of new information has come across my path. And honestly, like, I'm just going to start diving right into it because there's no sense holding back. Like, the time is now, and we're literally seeing a crossing of the threshold where we can't live in the old ways that we used to live. It's just not going to be possible once the new world starts to become manifest. And it already is manifest. Like, those of us that can see through the illusion, it's kind of funny, like, pointing all this stuff out in the media, and you know, people don't know.
people don't know, and they're just buying the narrative. Because honestly, like, the only weapon that the piece of shitos have is the media. And the problem is that people buy the narrative and then they play it out for themselves. It's like the most ironic thing, but it's also like so disturbing when you can see through it and then a whole bunch of people around you are just going with the flow and just doing things despite evidence that it's not good for them, and it's obviously not good for society. You know, since when did the government actually care about our health? Like, I remember back in the 90s, well, actually like late 2000s, when I was first introduced to cannabis. Like, growing up, like, cannabis was just like heroin. It was just like crack, you know, it was all in one lump sum. But then I tried cannabis and it was like, wait, this is illegal and it makes you calm and peaceful. Well, alcohol just makes you crazy and want to cuss out everybody, especially when you have that inner baggage that's just gnawing at you from the inside. And I said, like, how is this possible? How is the government actually hiding this from us? And then I learned about pharmaceuticals, and I thought, you know, oh, if you're prescribed medicine, yeah, just take it and it will do its job and you'll get better. Little did I know, and now we're seeing that in our present day. We're seeing that to the nth degree. And all the stuff that they're pushing, man, like, they are high-level drug dealers. And it was so ironic because my story, like, I was drinking like so heavily after high school, and man, it was legal. Like, I could just go down the block, buy a coffee from 7-Eleven, and right next door to that was the liquor store. I'd literally be drinking like a Mickey every night. And that was like on regular nights, you know, but inside, like, that's just the evidence. That's the manifestation of a cry for help, saying that, you know, something's not right and I've got to, like, release the stress, release that emotional tension inside of me based on, you know, whatever was going on in the world, based on whatever my experience was, like getting out of a private school, literally like a one-room classroom from grade, I would say 1 to 12, but I think it was like 3 to 12. And there was about 70, 75 students in the whole school at the peak of that school when we had the most students in our school. So just coming out of that and going straight into the public college scene, like, where I had to take care of my own work, I had to do all my assignments by myself. I literally was responsible for attending class all by myself. It was a completely different world. And it was tough, man. Plus, on top of that, I was in a dysfunctional relationship, which I was in it for the inspiration as an artist, because both of us loved anime. We were both, like, writing our own kind of novel story books. Like I shared in the last episode, a lot of that art was actually for the settings for whatever that book was going to be. And while that was inspirational, and I did get a lot of good ideas from that, the main part of the story was about this couple that actually was, you know, ordained since the beginning of time almost, and through ancient prophecies to actually fulfill this mission to eliminate the reign of this evil kingdom in the world led by this dragon king. And that's kind of parallel to what we're dealing with today. So I had to let go of that story. I had to let go of the main characters, at least, and I had to frame the rest of the story because, you know what, it's a satire on the real world based on what we don't see. But now we're just starting to see that more and more. Isn't it ironic that the left is just exposing itself more and more as Satanism? But anyway, all that inspiration still survives, and while I had to ditch the main characters of that story, like, it's transcended, and I'm gonna be putting that together in a new kind of encyclopedia format where it's actually like describing the world that we live in through satire. Like, I have like 20 different types of races, all the countries and nations, and how like different tribes and kingdoms were set up, you know, up until the beginning of colonialism. But even that is going to have like an article in this encyclopedia. And it's almost so bizarre when you look at the real world. It's like, you know, they say truth is stranger than fiction. It's so obvious when you actually dig into it, and it's like you're living in a fairy tale world, but the way the media portrays it, it's just like so mundane. You just do your 9 to 5, you know, you watch Netflix when you come home, you only vacation 2 weeks out of the whole year. Man, we're made for much more than that, much more than that. And it's about time we realize our potential as sovereign beings of light, come into this earth plane to actually fulfill our destiny instead of have every single aspiration that we were born with beaten out of us. But you know what? It's a growth process. And as the media continues to expose itself more and more, as the corruption in all these institutions is exposed more and more, we literally can't succumb to that kind of mentality anymore. And it's those of us that are awake that are like that. It's not, you know, the other side. And it kind of baffles me how people can still be on the other side. But we're seeing the splitting of prisms here. We're seeing literally two worlds come out of this whole expose of society. And it's going to be interesting moving forward because there's going to be both sides and we're going to see it. And right now, you know, it's like Bashar said, it's like we're looking at it through a glass. And it's right there in front of us. It's happening right in front of us, but we're not participating in it. And the further this progresses, the thicker that glass gets. And all of a sudden I'm realizing, you know, I'm hanging out with different types of people. I'm working together with these kind of people that are awake and actually know what's going on. Not woke, because woke is the controlled opposition to buy all of that mainstream narrative and to go along with that narrative and actually perpetrate what the media is portraying as what's going on. Honestly, like if you just turn off the media, man, it's a beautiful day. But if you're watching the media, you know, you're in a panic attack. But these two worlds literally are splitting, and all that corruption and all of those lies just can't exist in Earth 2.0. And we're entering into a place where there's going to be new well, not new technology, but ancient technology that's been suppressed, free energy, holistic medicine, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be revealed, and the true nature of the ancient scriptures as well, which is what I'm exposing in the reasoning sessions and even in my live streams. I dig deep and explain that, you know, even though they gave us these translations, there's so much hidden in that itself that when the real stuff is revealed, we're actually going to realize just what we've been sitting on. But this stuff goes way deeper than, you know, little personal feuds or, you know, little communities. Like, this stuff has been going on since ancient times. And it's funny because I did an episode outlining the conspiracy theories that were highlighted in GTA San Andreas, and I'm gonna delve into part 2 of that here in a bit, because honestly, like, there's so much in that game that just exposes so much of, you know, hidden stuff behind the scenes, not just corruption, but just the way society and government and all these institutions are set up.
There it is, Holmes.
Ryder, you shermhead!
This business is bigger than any gang, is it?
Ryder, little bitch! This guy take himself real serious.
That's T-Bone Mendez.
What now? Is that it?
Hey, who's the gringo?
I don't like the look of that guy. This more than a few thugs pushing product. It's a serious organization.
How many of these clowns are there?
I know a pimp when I see one. They being clever about this. It ain't no exchange of nothing incriminating.
And the deeper you get into this game, you gotta, like, earn your respect with, you know, some really shady characters. Especially when you're working for that pimp and all of a sudden one of the main traffickers is kidnapped by the Vietnamese mafia. So you gotta go and save him.
T-Bone, pump your brakes, baby. Take a chill pill and just lay back and let the red mist fall, brother.
Hey, Holmes, open your eyes, dog. Can't you see we're getting messed with here, Holmes?
Hey, partner, T-Bone, look, it's Carl. Now he's a real hero out there.
Shit.
See, we still good.
What, are you Vato stupid? Someone's onto us. We need to go back and rethink.
I think they was just trying their luck.
Mike, I've been trying to contact you. What? Oh, man, where are you? Okay, just keep talking. Hey, Holmes, Mike's in trouble. Let's bounce.
What trouble? Who was Mike?
Man, they taking the Yay shipment and the van, and Mike's still in the back.
Well, what we gonna do? How the f we gonna know where he is?
He's got his phone. He's gonna talk to us till his battery runs out. Come on, we gotta bounce.
All right, let's jet.
Shit, there they are! Hey man, come on, hurry up.
Apúrate.
About time, T-Bone. Who the f*** is this?
Hey, that's one of Jizzy's clowns. Relax, Güero.
You hear that? We gotta torch this van with the coke in it.
Hey, Charlie, Güero, we ain't torching nada.
This is a setback, but doing 20 to life is a little more than that. Comprende, amigo?
Hey, he right, man. Let's do it and get the hell out of
Hey,
here.
who the asked you, payaso? This ain't a committee.
Exactly. I call the shots here. Now shut up and let's go.
But then when the shit hits the fan, like, you gotta take them all out, and what he does is he chases down the same guy when he gets into his helicopter, and he goes down the street and he literally blows him out with an RPG. But guess what? There's such a thing as body doubles, and you know, we can see that in the media now.
Joe Biden! Robinette, is that you? No, Joe Biden! Hey, Joe! Are you the body double? It's the body double! Hey, Joe!
Oh, the cops don't even want you.
This is the one that you see on CNN. But where's the real Joe?
And all of a sudden, the main character gets this mysterious call to meet up with somebody at this ranch. And when he gets there, guess who he meets?
Hey, Carl.
Hey, what the man? Hey, Torino, I told you my bad, man. What the can I say? I screwed you over.
Calm down, kid.
Just go ahead and kill me then.
Calm down.
Man, you ain't nothing but a yayo dealer anyway, Torino.
Shut up and sit down. Well, you think I'm a drug dealer? And you think you're a crusader for good? Do you have any idea what's going on? Any idea whatsoever? Do you? Do you?
Nah, I pay as little attention to things as
Do
possible.
not be a fucking smart ass with me. I work for a government agency. It is not important which one. I will try not to confuse you. Yes, when we last met, I was involved in battling threats in Latin America by any means necessary. That does not make me a drug dealer. Now, the money that we raised, the friends that we won over, have helped us immeasurably in our overseas interests.
Government agency?
Kids like you expect heroes. We're fighting a war out there. I'll be a hero and I'll lose. And what do we have? Communism in Ohio. People sharing. Nobody buying stuff. That kind of bullshit. So relax and listen.
All right, I'm listening.
I know what kind of guy you are. I need a guy like you to do things I can't get caught doing.
Like what?
I need you to commandeer a truck. A rival agency with a confused social agenda. They got things that we need. Now, this is a two-man job. You'll need a friend. Use your sister's boyfriend, but don't tell him a thing. Remember, I'll be watching you.
So this is like a real game, and you know, the strings are being pulled from behind the scenes by these super agencies, and ultimately, like, you know, the old saying, all roads lead to Rome? Well, all these agencies actually have their pinnacle in that same system. And I'm going to be exposing more of that in future videos, because honestly, like, these guys have infiltrated every single aspect of society, and they run the show from behind the scenes. So all these little agencies that you see and you blame, like, the communists or the Freemasons or, you know, religious institutions and even government and media, all that stuff. Well, those are just little heads of the same beast, and the real beast, well, we'll get to that in another episode. Maybe I'm just gonna make a whole series just on that, outside of the reasoning sessions, outside of the Joel Fernandez show, because man, the situation at hand, this stuff has been going on since Ignatius de Loyola. But it's all just a game. But these guys, like, literally pull the strings on every level, and they have collateral on everybody. Literally everybody.
Carl, I need you to do me a favor.
Yeah, I'll do you a proper injury, man. What you knowing about my brother?
Relax. He's in prison upstate. D-Wing, cell 13. To the left, I got a child killer who wants to rip his throat out. To the right of him, I got a white supremacist who wants to eat his heart, to be precise. Now, don't worry. Tenpenny and Pulaski are really relatively benign, unless, of course, you're a family member of Officer Pendlebury, whom they shot when he threatened to expose them. But You do know all about that, right?
Damn. Hey, man, how you know all this stuff, man? And won't you stop it?
You just don't understand, do you, kid? Look, it's all white knights and heroes. We have to make decisions, kid. You know, I try to set bad people on other bad people, and sometimes I let good guys die. He's your brother, but to me, he's just collateral. It's a very delicate decision. Over here, you got all the scumbags inside the country. And over here, you got all the scumbags outside the country. And me and my colleagues, we're the f***ing pivot. Keep the government in work. Which reminds me, come here, okay? I need you to head over here in the buggy outside, okay? Okay, let off a flare. We got some precious cargo needs collected.
Hey, hold up. What about my brother and all that shit you was talking about?
Hey, don't worry. Sweet's just fine. He gets touched. A prison guard goes home and finds that his wife and kid have been murdered. Everything's under control. We'll talk later. Now, come on, get out of here.
And one side is against another, and they're really both doing the same thing. But it's like these guys finance both sides of the war. They actually pay, and then they cover their backs by saving the same kind of people that they're out to destroy, but just for show. Just for show, so that they can make good headlines just in case. It's such a corrupt system, man.
What's your take on this?
Damn. I thought them was your people.
Listen, Carl, we've got a problem. Some traitors from another department think they can help the overseas situation by financing militaristic dictators in exchange for arms contracts.
Hey, ain't that exactly what you do?
Well, kind of, but we get to pick our dictators. Degenerates that we can control. We try to stay the away from these guys with principles, because that just muddies the waters.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so, of course, these idiots have stolen a consignment of landmines, and they plan to offload them in the Middle East and cause a little ruckus, and everybody goes crazy and have a lot of problems. I mean, Carl, do you like maiming people? Curious.
Maiming? Some people.
Anyway, the point is, you and me, Carl, hey, we're the same. Now, yeah, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. But if you screw this up, it causes a tinderbox situation all over Latin America and the Middle East. Now, look, I spoke to the big man. You got clearance to eliminate these f***ers. How's that? Huh?
Man, kill government agents?
Kill Schmill. Come on, don't look at it that way, will you? Think of it as pest control. It works for me. All right, come on. I can't stay here now. I'm too hip. I gotta go. Okay? I'm out of here.
So this is like one of the many things that the main character CJ in San Andreas finds out along his journeys. And he realizes that, you know what? He's helpless. And I mean, check out the last, 18, 19 months? Like, we realized just how helpless we were in the face of this organization. Because like the way the media pushed everything and the lockdowns and, you know, you got to wear your muzzle, all that stuff. And even now what they're pushing, it's like, yeah, they're high level drug dealers. But after CJ in the game gets through learning all of this stuff, his brother was locked in jail, and he goes to pick up his brother, who when he was last free was just caught in the middle of a gang turf war. And now CJ's like living in the mansions in Hollywood Hills and all that kind of stuff. And his brother's like, no, we're going back to the hood and we're picking up where we've left off.
What's up, bruh?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, bruh?
I'm alright, man. Hey, man, we off to our new spot. We got a mansion, sweet. We've been putting in work, and shit is going well. We got a stake in the casino. We got some insane shit in Fierro. We get into the rap game. Hey, man, let me get you some new clothes. Come on.
New clothes? What the f*** is this bullshit?
What you mean, man? What's mine is yours, and you know that.
You never did get it, did you, Carl? I need to go check on things in the hood. Man, that's the problem. You always a perpetrator, running from what's real.
Hey, man, shit's f***ed up there. You don't want to be in the hood.
No, that's exactly where I want to be. What you done for our hood?
Man, what the hood done for me? Always dragging me down. Ever since I got out the hood, shit been cracking. That's everybody's dream to get out the hood.
Man, you sound just like Smoke right now.
All right, man. You hard. I'ma show you what's going on in the hood.
And then finally, at the end of the game, you get to see justice against the cops that were so corrupt, but they actually replay the LA riots, and all of that stuff is exposed in the game. I'm going to be covering that in the next episode, but like all of this stuff that goes on in society, it's so crazy how long this stuff has just been carrying on, and the corruption and all this manipulation, man. But we're breaking out of that. This channel isn't about bad news. You know, we're not about doom and gloom here. We actually are already living our best life yet. We're already making these links and connecting with people, and all of this stuff is unfolding like never before. And they're so desperate. They're so desperate to suppress this mass awakening, because once people realize that all of our media, all of our medicine, all of our history, all the institutions and everything that has like literally indoctrinated us and framed our paradigm since the time we were born, all of that is a lie, and that it's been all run by this elitist group that actually wages war on not only humanity but God itself. And that's not even the crux of it, because this institution is posing as God in the earth. So when people realize that this was all just a big fat lie, there's going to be no going back. There already is no going back. Not just for those of us that are awake, but those of us that have bought the narrative. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but us purebloods have to stay strong, because the crossing of this threshold is literally the greatest thing ever, you know? And we tell ourselves, you know, we're ready. We're ready for what's happening, but give it a second thought, because the brain only knows what the brain has learned. It cannot perceive anything out of what it has been taught or perceived. The brain perceives reality, but the spirit can create reality. And in the spirit, man, the potential is so much greater than anything that we've been exposed to in this life. Like, ask yourself again, is it something that you're able to accept? Because, you know, like they say, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Well, be prepared to taste the best chocolate you've ever tasted in your entire life. I'm not exaggerating, guys. Really, we are literally crossing a threshold into a new paradigm. This is a new time, a new dimension, a new... So do your part. Tap into source, tap into your heart, tap into your spirit, because from there flow the rivers of life, and we can literally access potentials that were greater than anything we could have possibly imagined before. But I probably should turn my car off. It's been idling for a while. I'm gonna take a break here and meet you back in the studio. All right, so we are back. Just taking a good sip of some tea here, and we're gonna get right back into it, because like I said, this corruption comes straight from the Church of Rome. And it's like the most ingenious plan, right? What better way to infiltrate the actual church than to set up a phony church and actually call it the real church, and through that institution bring through whatever mess you want to in the world. And then of course the real ones get the bad name, and you've orchestrated the whole thing anyway. And if you really want to know the truth, it's this very organization that basically runs the whole world. They own the whole world. And if you didn't know that, you should check out the presentation by Santo Spinacci entitled The Vatican Owns Your Soul, because it's all outlined. And it all has to do with Roman canon law. Franco Collins also points this out. And this is literally how they've usurped the whole world through the birth certificate. They claim to all the property of the world, all the real estate, and all the souls. This is the triple crown, the trirennium, the threefold kingdom, which is why the papal tiara actually has 3 crowns in it. This begun with Pope Boniface VIII and his papal bull Unum Sanctum. This is the very way they've usurped the actual beliefs, the actual Church of Jesus Christ. And every other political and religious branch is basically a tentacle of this beast. Like from the Nazis to the communists, it was very easy for them to delineate them and say, oh, one's on the left side, one's on the right side, and they're fighting each other. But guess what? It was just different hands controlling the 2 puppets. You have the Eastern Orthodox and the Roman Church. It's the same concept. Zionism, Freemasonry, the KKK, heck, even mainstream Protestantism has totally been co-opted by these guys. And I'm going to be covering all of this, telling everything in depth, because this is the main conspiracy that all conspiracies are built on. Like, we can talk Illuminati playing cards, we can talk all of these things, we can talk video games and movies, but this is like the root, the foundation of it all. So it's been quite the journey uncovering this whole interconnected network. It's really a spell over humanity and this physical dimension, actually. And speaking of that, and talking about the papal bulls that instituted this threefold kingdom, we got to go back to Pope Boniface VIII. And I'm just going to read actually from this book. It's called The Godfathers. And as you can see, who's behind communism, Zionism, and fascism. It says, not too long ago, great men of God believed the Pope was the Antichrist. They were Wycliffe, Luther, Calvin, Tyndale, Knox, Sir Isaac Newton, Fox, Wesley, Finney, Moody, Spurgeon. Could they be right? Let's see what Pope Boniface VIII said about himself. The Roman Pontiff, or the Pope, judges all men, but is judged by no one. We declare, assert, define, and pronounce to be subject to the Roman Pontiff is to every human creature altogether necessary for salvation. That which was spoken of Christ, thou hast subdued all things under his feet, may well seem verified in me. I have the authority of the King of Kings. I am all in all and above all, so that God himself and I, the vicar of God, have but one consistory, and I am able to do almost all that God can do. What therefore can you make of me but God? And that's a direct quote from the bull Unum Sanctum that was issued on November 18th, 1302, and that's found in the registers of Boniface VIII in the Vatican archives. So there you have it. Pope Boniface VIII admitted he was an Antichrist. And he was so crooked and wicked that Dante Alighieri, in his Divine Comedy, actually issued him a very special place in the bottommost chambers of hell because he was so evil and vile. This is what he thought of humanity, enough to curse all of the world and actually claim it as his own, to put himself up in the place of God, and go so far as to say that if you were ever to be granted eternal salvation, well, you had to recognize him as your savior. So now you have a choice. Like, are you going to follow him? Are you going to follow the Christ of the birth certificate and owning all your property and your soul? Or are you going to choose to serve Christ, who redeemed you to God by his own blood? That's the big question. This is why people researching the really deep foundations of Christendom get sidetracked and they throw the baby out with the bathwater because they think that Christianity is actually this, when the system is actually the Antichrist claiming to be Christ. All this sun worship and pedophilia, man, that's not the original way. That's all a diversion to actually distract from the original teachings and to denigrate and blacklist and to give a bad name to the actual understanding of these ancient scriptures. Once you look past that and you actually dig deep, you realize that God is love. Christ didn't come to the world to condemn anybody, but that the world through him might be saved. You're not a guilty sinner going for the confessional, paying penance. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. No, you are raised to heavenly places in Christ, seated at the right hand of Source, Creator, Father God. And when you can acknowledge that and accept that, well then, that living life just flows through you and out of you into the world and literally creates these ripples that manifest the kingdom of heaven in your own life experience. But like I said, I'm just getting started, scratching the surface here. I'm about to dive deep, so stay tuned for more, because if you thought things were interesting, man, you haven't even begun to see it. But I gotta get going. I got some pea and potato soup ready for dinner. I'm gonna get that in me and prepare some notes for tomorrow's live stream. And over all of you, I just decree blessings. Every day I'm praying for all of you because I know that we're all truth seekers and we're all tapping in to experience more of who we've come here to be and what Creator Source has actually made us to be. Not to be manipulated, not to have these aspirations asphyxiated out of us. We haven't come here to be crucified by institution because somebody has already been crucified in our place. So we are justified. We stand pure and can approach the throne of God boldly. So we enter those gates with thanksgiving and those courts with praise, and I just decree blessings over all of you. Literal abundance, literal prosperity, and that life energy, that absolute living logos to flow through you and ignite you to your fullest potential. I really do love you guys. We're all in this together. This is our high vibe tribe. This is who we've come here to be, to connect with each other and source, and to actually be a community of living, loving light workers. The city on a hill as a beacon and as an example for all to follow. As this new wave crashes into an unexplored shore of a kingdom of heaven paradigm and an unlimited potential. So with that being said, I'll check you in another video. Joel signing out once again. Agape, salaam, namaste, hotep.
I don't have it. Because I never got it. Because I don't want it. Because I don't trust you. Yet you still insist I need a proof of vaccination to exist. And so the lies persist. But some of us can tell, and you bet we will resist. I hope you know it's plain to see the pseudoscience you misuse on the TV, and all the power you abuse that keep the people confused and afraid. How is this still going on? This fire's been going for way too long. If you ain't blind, you can see that this is wrong, and I won't comply. Not me, no way, I may be wrong, and after all, I'm just a singer. But I'm not afraid to use my brain and middle finger. So go ahead and do your thing, but I'm not taking anything. These vaccine passports are a crime, and so I sing. Hell no, am I gonna get it? Hell no. HELLNO. Do I trust the government? Hell no. Do I comply? Hell no.